First things that you need to do when you start to use Google Drive is to also make sure that you're using Google Chrome and that you are signed in to Google Chrome. The way that I know that I am signed in to Chrome is this is my Chrome window, and I see I have my picture. If I click on it, it tells me that I'm signed in with my Boone County account and my sync is on, meaning that it's syncing all of my bookmarks and my extensions that I use with my Google Chrome. These being my extensions, these being my bookmarks. When I sign into my Google account, I also have the picture, and it tells me that this account is managed by Boone County Schools. That's how I know that I am using my Boone County Google account. If you are not signed into the Chrome browser, when you do go to Chrome and sign in, it will ask you, do you want to link your data? And you do want to link your data because that's what brings all of your bookmarks and your extensions over with you. So again, always make sure that you're logged into the Chrome browser along with being logged into your Google account. Today is going to be a session on the basics of using the Google Drive. We're going to talk about the various items and the setup, the layout of Google Drive, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up some tips that will help you. In addition, we probably will go maybe 30, 40 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions afterwards. So again, remember, Kyle is monitoring the chat window. He's there to help if you need it. So when we look at the Google Drive, notice that on the left side, we have a big new button. When you click the big new button, it allows you to create a new folder. You can upload a file, or you can upload a folder. If you have a folder of files on your computer and you would like to bring them into your Google Drive, you can do so. You can also start a new Google Doc, sheet, slides, and as you can see, there are a lot of other things that you can do from the new button. A lot of these Google apps are going to be covered in our future webinars, so if you're interested in any of those, make sure to tune in. The priority. Now what Google does is Google tries to, or they don't try to, they actually do tell me what I've been into lately. They know which files I've touched. So they're sort of guessing like, oh, I think this is probably a priority for Kathy because I know that she has touched these files lately. To be honest, I don't use the priority. I find that, I handle my files okay. I know what I've done lately. I don't really need Google to help me, but that is what the priority is for. In addition, notice that we have workspaces. This is something fairly new. If you're working on a project and you have files from various people in various folders, you can bring them into a workspace and create a workspace where all of those things will be there so that it's a very quick access for you. Again, personally, I don't use the workspaces, but it is there. When we get down to My Drive, you do have the little arrow on the side. If you click, it will populate, or it should. There you go. It'll bring down all of the folders that you have in your Google Drive. If you have subfolders, it will also show those if you have any underneath. When I go over into my drive and click on a folder, and I know this is a folder because it shows a folder, and it's very different from when I have just a file. Let it catch up with me here. Files are shown by the icon of the app in which the file was created. So I know again that these are folders. If I click on a folder, I get some options over here on the right side. And one of them is, we'll start over here with the I, and this is the details. So if I click that, it's going to give me the details of this folder because I'm on the folder. Notice it tells me what it is, where it's located, who owns it, when I modified it, when I last opened it, and when it was created. I could also add a description there if I wanted. In addition, there's an activity tab, and it's going to show me what I've done in this file folder. Again, that is viewing the details. To the left of that, we have a grid view button. When I click that, what it does, it changes the layout, the view of my Google Drive. Some people are more visual and they prefer to see it in a grid view versus if we change it back to the list view. And again, that's a personal preference, whatever works best for you. Again, let me click on a folder. Then we have more actions. More actions give us the option to actually move it. Let's say I wanted to move that to another place within my Google Drive. I could do that. I can star it. I can rename it. I can change its color, which is very helpful for people who, I always think about when I was in the elementary schools, how we had different color folders for different subjects. And some people, that's just how our minds work. So if you have science materials and you want all your science materials to be in a folder that is green, then you can change it, and notice it makes my folder a green color. And you can color code as you want. I can search within this particular folder. Again, I can view the details, or I could download the folder. Those are my options that are given to me. The little garbage can means to remove it or throw it away. One thing that I do want to mention about the garbage can is with our Boone County Google accounts, these are G Suite for Education accounts, we have unlimited storage. Now that is huge, unlimited storage. So some people argue that, well, I really don't ever need to empty my trash. I can put things in the trash. So if I would remove it, it would go over into my trash over here on the left side, and it will stay there until I actually take the trash out. So some people say, you know, well, we have unlimited storage. Why would I need to empty the trash? Because I may need it at some time, so I can leave it there. Again, it's a personal preference. I personally don't like to have a lot of things in my trash. And I think this is probably just a habit that I got into a long time ago when I was a Windows user and we had the recycle bin, and, you know, to save memory, we always went in and cleared the recycle bin. But you'll notice that I don't have very many items in my trash. Again, if I wanted to clear it, I would click on the trash icon on the left, and then I can empty my trash up here on the right. Again, it's a personal preference.
We have a question from Stacy Owens.
Okay.
She asked, how do you empty the trash? So I'm not sure if you've already answered that mid-type or not.
Maybe we answered that just again in case. If I want to empty my trash, I click on the trash on the left, and then I go over to the right and click on empty trash. Thank you for the question. We can share and we can get a link. And probably one of the strongest items that we can do with our Google Apps is the sharing ability. It's one of the best features. If we click on share, notice that this folder, and let me go back once. Notice that this folder, how it has the little person on it versus the one above it that does not have the person. That's telling me that that folder is shared with someone. So that means that all of the documents, anything that I put in this folder, that individual has access to. So when I go to share, you'll see that the person is lucky Kyle. He gets to see everything that I'm doing or putting within that folder. Kyle is an editor of that. Notice if I drop down, I could make him where he's just a viewer. That means that he can only see what's in there. He can't manipulate it. He can't organize, add, or edit them. I could also give somebody temporary access. If I wanted to make him the owner, let's say that Kyle and I are working on a project together and I created the file folder and we have all the files in there. And then for some reason, I get pulled off of that project and that project is now just Kyle's. What I could do is I could actually make him the owner of the folder and it will go to him. I will no longer be the person in control as the owner. And then I also could then remove him. Let's say Kyle's a bad boy and he does something to one of my files that I don't want him to do, and I'm just joking, but I could remove him so that he doesn't have access. If I want to add someone else, let's say I want to add Benita. So I start typing, her name will populate. If I click on her name, notice that I could add multiple people here if I would like. I can decide, what do I want Benita to be? Do I want her to be a viewer or do I want her to be an editor? And notice that I don't have the make owner option here. It's because I have to add her to the folder before I could then make her an owner. So if I wanted to just let her view, and then notice we have a notify people. So what this means is if I remove that, it's not going to send her a message. So she has no idea that I have shared that folder with her. But if I want to notify her, which I normally do notify people so that they are aware that, hey, I've put something out there and you have the rights to it, I could then type her a little note. This is the file, this is the folder we were talking about. It lists the folder here, and then I would send it. And now if I go back into the sharing, you'll see that Benita is now a viewer. And since she is now a member, I could make her the owner if I chose to. At the bottom, notice that there is a get link. And it says it's restricted, only people that I add can open with the link. So that means that only the people that I have up here could open it with the link. I can change this and I can have it to where it says Boone County Schools or anyone with the link. So restricted means that I have to add them to the folder. Boone County Schools means anybody within the Boone County Schools can, with the link, can be in this folder, look at the folder. Or if I want anybody, I don't care who sees it, as long as they've got the link, they can get in. I could share with those rights. And I can decide whether I want to give them view rights or editing rights.
Kathy, we do have another question.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and answer it, but it might be nice to go over it for people that aren't looking at the chat.
Okay.
Catherine asked, can you share with people outside of the district?
Yes, you can. Okay, so when we share with outside of the district, you would want to do anyone with the link, and then you would copy the link, and you could email the link to them.
And then a secondary question, Beth said, what's the advantage of using the link over sharing? So why would you share the link rather than sharing the folder? I know myself that I like to share a link when I need that link to be publicly accessible to people and I don't need them to have it in their drive. If you share a folder, then that folder will then be available within their Google Drive versus if you're just sharing the link, it's just something that they're going to be able to click directly to.
Thank you, Kyle. Did that answer your question?
I'm not sure how well they can hear me either. So yes, thanks.
Okay, good. And what he was talking about, the shared drives, is something that we'll discuss here in a few minutes. But as Kyle just said, if it's a shared drive, then it will be listed under your shared drive. So these are all the drives that have been shared with me for whatever reason. If you share with just the link, it doesn't appear here. Shared with me. Shared with me will show everything that's ever been shared with me. It tells me the share date. It tells me who shared it. And it's interesting because when I do this class in person, it's amazing how many people say, well, I didn't know I had anything in there. And it's probably because it was shared with them and they weren't sent a message saying that it was shared. That's another good reason why it's a nice habit to get into, is to always send the message.
Do you want to show them while we're in that one, how to add it to your drive? If it's something that they're going to be using frequently, if you right click on them.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. So let's say that this has been shared with me, and if I right click on it,
Add the shortcut.
I can add the shortcut to the drive, and then what will happen is it'll go into the drive.
And that's really useful if you're going to be accessing something a lot. Let's say your principal is sharing out a document that you're going to be accessing over and over again. You can put it in your files, in your folders, and organize it as you want, rather than having to go back to your share with me.
Right, and what I tend to normally do is I would star it, because then it will appear in my starred folder on the left side. So that when you right click on a file, these are our options that we get. Again, you can share from there. There's that add it to a workspace, shortcut to the drive, the starred. If you have items that you use frequently, starring them is a quick way to always get your hands on them. I can view the details of this particular file. I can make a copy, or again, I could download it. Recent. Recent shows the files that I have been working on. Notice that today, it knows that I have this file I've touched. Yesterday, these are all the files that I worked on. It's very helpful if you know that you've worked on something within like the month, but now you cannot remember what the name of it is. Go into your recent and it will be there. Starred. Again, when you right click on a file, you can star it or a folder, and then it will be listed here. So anything that you touch frequently, if you don't want to add it, if it's shared with you and you don't want to add it to your drive, you could just star it and have it appear here. Again, the trash, if anybody came in late, these are things that I've put in my trash. I haven't taken the trash out yet, so they are still there. But if I want to empty it, all I need to do is click on empty trash. Now, if I right click on something that I have put in my trash, notice that it gives me two options. One says restore, which means that it would remove it from the trash and put it back in my drive, or it will delete it forever. When you empty your trash or delete forever, it truly is gone. So make sure that it is something that you want to get rid of before you either empty your trash or delete forever. The app switcher over in the right is an important thing to know that you have. This is how you can get into other Google apps. As I scroll, you'll see all the various ones that we have. And again, this is called the app switcher. Do we have any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Vicky has asked, if the students share assignments with me and I want to batch delete them, how do I do it quickly?
Okay, so they would be shared with you here, and you want to delete them quickly, I'm holding down Control as I'm clicking, and then you can click and drag and drop them over into your trash.
Another question. Can you empty multiple things in the trash all at once? And I believe emptying the trash, if I'm not wrong, Kathy,
Yeah.
it empties the entire folder at once.
Yes, it does. It does. So if you're in your trash and you click empty trash, it's going to take everything out. Everything will be emptied. If you just want to permanently remove one, then you would click on that item, right click, and delete forever. But if you want everything to be gone, you empty the trash.
That's it.
That's it. Any other questions? Okay, well, that was using Google Drive. It's not as involved as what some people think. Oh no, I can't get in there. But if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Kyle Berberich if you're in elementary school. If you're middle and high, I am your technology resource teacher. And also, before we go, we want to share with you that we do have resources that are located under the Boone County Schools bookmark. Earlier, when I said that you want to make sure that you are logged into Chrome because it brings your bookmarks, one bookmark that we place for you is the Boone County Schools bookmark. When you look at that bookmark, we have some items here that we hope that it makes it a little bit easier and quicker for you. Notice that we have a Teaching with Technology. If we click that, it will take you to our website, which will list available trainings. We also have an Infinite Campus teacher gradebook resources. There's some training there. Canvas course that has been created for each building is listed here. Tech tips. So we have a lot of various items for you here. In addition, we have the last link, and this is where you can go to find the current training offerings, or what kind of items do we already have resources for. And back in May, in April, we were doing some webinars, and those were recorded. Those can be located, and you can search and find them here.
We got another question or two when you're done.
Okay, and Kyle says we have another question. What's going on, Kyle?
Let's see. How do you move something from my drive to another shared drive? So how do you move something out of your drive and put it into a shared drive?
Okay, so if I wanted to move, let's say I want to move this file. It's in my drive. And if I want to move it to a shared drive, I can right click it, move to, and then notice that I'm having to go backwards because I need to find my shared drives. And then I pick the drive that I want to place it in, and I would click move. That's one way of moving it. Another way is you can just click and drag and drop.
All right, we have another question. Karen asked, can you have your students' Google Docs assignments go to one folder? And I tried to clarify with Karen if she was using Google Classroom, because that would be the easiest and most efficient way to make that happen. And Karen did not respond yet. So Karen, if you could add that. But if you're using Google Classroom and you give the assignment in Google Classroom, that will automatically, when the students turn it back in, it will organize it based on what assignment it's attached to. So you would have multiple folders for every assignment with all of the student work for that assignment in those folders. Outside of using Google Classroom, that would be a much more challenging feat to accomplish. You could do it, but it would make it much, much more challenging. So if you want more information on that, we'll be doing a little webinar on Google Classroom getting started sometime today. I'm not sure on the time. I can look in a second. And then Beth also asked a question about how you add something to your bookmarks. I'm not sure if she means the bookmarks bar or if she means favorites, so the star folder, so maybe go over both.
Okay. So if I want to add something to my bookmark, let's say that I'm on let me go to just a website here. If I want to add that to my bookmarks, what I would do is I would grab this little icon, drag it, and drop it down. Now it's on my bookmark bar. If I wanted to rename that, I could, but I will leave that as it is. If I want to star something, I right-click it, add it to the star. Notice that it leaves it in the folder where it is, but it does put a star beside it. So if I go to my starred items, you're going to see that it was indeed added.
All right, they both said that answers your questions. So I'm not
Great.
sure if there are any more.
Great. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to Kyle and myself. One last housekeeping item is we need to, in order for you to get credit for being at the webinar today, you'll need to have a certificate. So we have an evaluation for the training that was held this morning. If you go to this website, and I believe Kyle is putting it in the chat window so that you have the link, there is a real short evaluation. Please make sure that you spell your name and type your email correctly, because it will be automatically printed on the certificate, your name will be, and it will automatically be emailed to you at that email address. If for some reason you don't receive it within, I would say, 24 hours, please reach out to Kyle or myself, because perhaps your email was typed incorrectly. If we don't have any other questions for today, thank you for attending, and we hope to see you in our future sessions.